Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, folks, it's Wednesday, November 29th. This is the Infrastructure Oversight Committee. This meeting is being recorded and played back later. The only rules, obviously, we ask that you keep your decorum. If you're going to speak, when you rise, please state your name. We don't have a mic for the all right, we'll just make sure, if necessary, and we really can't hear them, we'll have them come up here if we have to, okay? Nothing, Jim? Yeah, why don't we just, in case we got something. All right, membership update, just state it, Maury, for us.
So the membership update is we do have a quorum today. We have one absent. Lawrence Holsworth is absent due to a family matter. But we do have a quorum of, I think, 6 people who have been appointed and signed, starting with Joe Rio, who is coming to his first meeting, Bob, who's vice chair, myself, Steve, who is chair, Manny Soares. Are you still a regular member, Manny, or alternate, or what?
I'm still a regular
Huh?
member.
He's regular.
You what?
I'm still a regular member.
Okay. And then Jerry Catino. So we do have an agenda. I'm sorry, we do have a quorum.
Quorum, yeah. All right, good.
Yep.
Let's go on to the minutes, approval of the minutes, meeting of September 6th, 2023.
So I have sent these out a couple times.
Yep.
And
Jerry was at that one, right?
yeah, Joe, you weren't here for this meeting, but we've got 5 people who were at the meeting who were here tonight. So
All right.
I prepared the minutes and I make a motion to approve them.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Manny. Hang on a second, I write that down. Maury, second.
I thought you were second when you said second.
No,
I
does
thought you
anybody
were
want a second? I'll speak up a little. All right. Any discussion, omissions? All in favor?
Aye.
Against, abstention, one abstention, it goes against. Okay. You ready for approving meetings, dates, or you want to hold off on that? Until the end of the meeting.
That's your, well, let's do it now.
All right, let's do it now.
But, when do you want to hold a meeting?
Roger, when do you think we're going to have some good information for next meeting? Any idea?
Hopefully we'll know something in January regarding the SRF funding. We hopefully looking to get listed on the intended use plan.
So what do you think would be a safe date? Till the end of the
So
month?
at the end, yeah, at the earliest, the end of June.
So what do we got?
Does this calendar go into next
Are we going to 24, Jim? Checking your phone?
My phone.
It does not go into next year.
I'll do it on a Wednesday, 17th to the 24th.
Yeah, maybe the 24th if we're gonna do that. The 17th is the holiday week, right? President's Day week.
Yes.
Yeah, so the 24th work for everybody?
Yes.
Any
Works for
meetings
me.
in jive with it? All right, so the next meeting will be January 24th. You're gonna keep it at 6:30 or a little earlier in the dead of winter?
We sort of moved from 6 to 6:30 because Bob has, it's easier for Bob to get here.
That's fine. Just didn't know if you want to
What
move it.
do you, Bob, why don't you answer that?
What time works?
I could, in December, in January, I can probably do 6 o'clock.
6
Six?
o'clock, okay.
Okay, so we say January 24th at 6, right?
Okay.
All right, everybody get that next meeting, January 24th at 6 p.m. Hopefully we'll have some information on funding. All right, we'll move on to presentation. Roger, can you get us up to date on the situations, the sewer pump and whatnot?
Sure, we're happy to. So, with respect to the sewer pump stations, both of the locations are ostensibly 100% designed. An easement, a survey was completed to develop the easement taking plan, so that's done. So the next step is going to be to take those some minor adjustments they had to make, but pretty much done. So the next step would be to take those instruments and then look for appraisals and begin to discuss with the property owners based on the appraisals. So the other thing we're looking at, it's in the critical path, is the, as we talked about before, is the interbasin transfer. So the project is going to go ahead and proceed with the request for determination of insignificance. Basically, that just means that the impacts of the project and are small enough that you don't have to go through a full rigmarole associated with the interbasin transfer. Grant funding, so the project was denied, MassWorks. Just as a reminder, we submitted a $1.8 million application, and however, in October this year, we received notification that the project would not be receiving MassWorks grant funds. MassWorks has scheduled a debrief session with us and their reviewers in January, just to discuss, what might help position us better going forward. But as you all know, the big component in this continues to be sort of an imminent economic impact, sort of a project associated with the infrastructure improvements.
So, Roger, I have a question there. Need more detail on why they denied our request. And I was talking to our state rep about it, and said we failed again. And he said they've got a scoring system. And he asked me, what is the scoring system? What did the scoring say? And I had no idea about a scoring system. Do you know about a scoring system that MassWorks uses?
I don't recall
Yes.
seeing
I haven't seen it, but I know most of these
Yes.
grant applications have.
Do they actually give us that scoring?
We debriefed after the first denial. And the MassWorks grant applications are designed to do a piece of infrastructure which unlocks a pending development that could not go forward but for the infrastructure. And so they're looking to have an immediate bang for the buck that they make.
So we've got a lot of those.
We have none of those.
Well,
I mean, they're looking for an office building, a big housing project. They're looking for something, if they're gonna put,
Bob Carrick has both of those things ready to go.
I'm telling you, is it right on the corner of, where we're gonna put a sewer?
Yeah, Borden and Route 6.
We're not putting a sewer there.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, that's the first layer, Borden. Borden is,
Right on the corner?
Yellow transportation.
Oh, yeah, I know what that is.
yeah,
Plus the
They have
existing,
not filed for permit yet. They
Yeah.
have not filed with planning board, but
Yeah, they need to
they are
go.
looking at those two projects.
And and they have a scoring system that said, okay, is this project approved, ready to go? It's pending, but for the sewer, and we didn't know any project like that.
yeah, we discussed that last meeting.
so what if we,
So can we see the scoring, or did we get it on
Yes,
the
you can get
briefing on
the
January 9th?
debrief.
We'll get the
debrief.
scoring then, okay?
Maury, can I get in?
Because our state rep is very interested in the scoring. Paul and I had a conversation last night or the night before, I forget, but we're very interested in seeing the scoring. And he's very interested in sitting down with Michael Rodericks and maybe Michael Burris, who, filled out the application, and deciding, what to do. Because we failed twice, and we don't want to keep failing.
Well,
And so-
we need to have an approved project sitting there, and all it needs is a sewer.
So our state senator is a big proponent of this project. And he's somebody who could get on the phone and talk to some of these property owners. There's a half a dozen of them that I had letters about, and who seem to be very willing to help us support this project.
Yeah,
And
well,
so,
A couple of us are members of the planning board, and we issue site plan approvals, and we don't have one that's
okay,
sitting
you don't
there.
have anything planning? Okay.
So one of the things on that Borden with the Carricks, so they
what?
have that on Borden Street with the Carricks that
Yeah.
own the yellow freight. Well, they also own, what's that called, Edgewater?
Yes.
Is that a 55?
Yeah,
Yeah.
over 55, 40 Bs.
Well, their septic is at the end of its useful life.
Yeah.
It needs a replacement. So what if we go forward and design a sewer main down that street to service? Is that something that, say, hey, we need money?
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you right now, if we put the sewer on Route 6, they would tie it in. They'd run that sewer main extension up the road, I mean, I don't know how many units is Edgewater.
Yeah.
So in the grant application, I'll just say that we did submit all the projects. We try
Yeah.
to stretch it out as much, and I say stretch not in a pejorative way, but we did try to identify potential projects. But like Bob's saying, it's literally and I've worked on some of these before. It's literally you have an eminent project, and this is a supporting, the infrastructure supports the project in that sense. But we did submit as part of the application.
Yeah, I gathered up 6 letters
Yeah.
from people like,
We
Bristol
put all those,
Pacific
we
and
put all
5
those,
What
others.
about
we
the
put all
towns,
those in.
Yeah,
But
and it didn't do any good.
We got the Macumber
Yeah.
Loop. I mean, is that something, you know, I know we're going for the PFAS stuff for that, but,
Well, that's not, yeah, we've got that here too.
so, I mean, that's,
But in terms, in the perspective, even with the grant, I thought that came post facto. So unlike the SRF, where we can see what we can check off to generate a score.
Oh, no, this is, you only get this in the debriefing.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we find
I
out.
mean, there
after
isn't,
that.
there isn't an application that has a scorecard on it.
That's right.
All right, so why don't you get us more, I know we discussed this last meeting that we did need an anchor product, we've already touched base on that. Find out if there's anything else we can do.
Just to give you one example, right, Lincoln Park, they had all the housing that went in there, the apartment buildings that went in there, and they had commercial development permitted. All that was permitted, and then they went for their Mass Works grant to do some intersection improvements at 177 and Route 6. But those were all approved, permitted, ready to build. In fact, they may have already started construction on the housing.
Yeah. Rui, if you can go to the mic, just so people at home can hear you. Sam. Please.
Rui Cadero. My question, I'm a little lost here. You're telling us that the 1.8 million was denied? Am I correct? What was the 1.8 million for?
To help support the cost of its sewer work, infrastructure work.
Wasn't that initial $1 million from Mike Rodricks?
No, we still have the million.
We still have that.
Oh, wasn't some of that spent? I thought some of that money was spent towards,
About 600 has been.
right?
Yeah.
So this 1.8 is to finish off what,
no.
No,
That
no, this
part
is for
of
the
it?
actual infrastructure to get rock and roll.
It's trying to raise money.
all right, the other question is, are we not shovel ready? Weren't we supposed to be shovel ready a long time ago?
We've got the plans, that's what we're
But
trying
we
to
were
do.
supposed to be shovel ready, we were told, February,
Correct.
March,
No,
maybe.
they sent
That's
all
what-
that
that's-
information, and they
This
sent
is
the
what
letters.
was told to us. Well, maybe we'll see it February, by March, I think it'll be
Correct.
ready. So my question to you is, are we shovel ready?
Yes, we are, correct?
Yes.
But for us to get the funding, we need to have some bait, if you will, for the state to invest into it.
So
They want
we
something
need to
big.
have a big project.
Right.
In other words, we're gonna have a big project
Yes.
for this to happen now. That's the bottom line.
Well, it can still happen, but we gotta come up with more funding.
That's only for the Mass Works grant. That's one of the avenues that we're going for funding.
I'll let you in
That's
in a
just
second.
one
You know what
grant
I'm
that we
talking
thought we could grab quickly, and that's one of the things for it, but there's a lot of
The
other things.
1.8
that
you're
working
talking
on.
about?
Yes, yes. That was something that we just threw in,
So
we
the
tried it the
denied-
year before.
What we were denied was on the Route 6 corridor?
Yeah.
The grant is for the Route 6
Funding to
assistance, yes.
construct.
So,
No, it's
just,
denied.
just a couple of things to explain.
Okay.
That
There's
type of
Phase
grant.
1A, which is just sewer from the Fall River line to 88. It costs about 7.5 to 8 million. And what we are trying to do is put together 7.5 or 8 million, hopefully from grants. And the 1.75 was part of that effort to get some of the money from grants. What we don't get for grants, we've got to go to town meeting for a loan from the state.
No, but that wasn't the understanding, I believe, when we first started this. Mike Rodricks had said that there was money for this project.
Well, he got that famous $1 million earmark a couple years
Right.
ago, and we've spent like 700,000 of it. We've still got a few hundred.
But that was the whole thing. We had said
He
this
gave
right
it,
from
he
the,
got that.
right from the get-go.
Yeah, from the
If
earmark,
this is
yeah.
if this is gonna have to go to town meeting for funds,
If we don't get grants, where else are we gonna go for it?
we might as well go home, because it ain't gonna happen. We all know that.
Okay, this is not an override, this is a debt exclusion, and the history of debt exclusions is they work. Overrides obviously don't, but this is debt exclusion, so.
Bob, did you want to explain something?
Yeah, we're turning over all the rocks where we think money is hitting. So, this was, the Mass Works grant is one of the possible funding opportunities. Yesterday, we were on an interview with the Department of Agriculture. If we were to form a sewer district and chasing money through them. We're also have an application that's pending and will probably get approved out of the state revolving fund loan. That we will know that in the end of December and early January. What we're trying to do is to get as much federal pass-through money that comes to us as grant or with debt forgiveness to reduce the amount of money that would need to go to town meeting. No matter what, absolutely no matter what, we'll have to go to town meeting because town meeting has to authorize borrowing, they have to authorize the project. Even if we came with the money, there'll be a local share. Nobody, unless there's, there was some magic someplace, no projects are getting 100% grant-free money to pay for infrastructure. What we're trying to do is to minimize the amount that we actually have to go to the taxpayers to borrow. So we continue. For the past 2 years, we have filed applications, we have filed loan applications, we've met with all of our congressional, our federal congressional delegation. We are pursuing as much money as we can, and so far, all the progress we've made has not cost the taxpayers 1 cent.
Yeah, it has. That infrastructure money you used and just spent $700,000. Can I say something? Can I get up and say something?
Just go to the mic.
That was a taxpayer.
Who is this?
It's state money, but it's indirectly, it's tax state.
Rob Machado.
What's his name?
You put in Robert Machado.
Robbie.
You put in for the first application, right? It was denied. We've been there already, right?
Yes.
You're putting in the second one, denied again, correct? Now we're looking for points for construction sites. When you put in for the application, the purpose of that was for the drinking water around the reservoir, the backup reservoir, correct?
No.
What was the purpose for the water to go only up to 288 on Route 6 and then circle up Sanford Road and circle around Tickle Road? What was the purpose of going that way? In other words, you would know it as Phase 1. What was the purpose of Phase 1? Why was it directed in that direction?
Well, phase 1 is a sewer project that runs from, as we've said a number of times, from the
Yeah.
Fall River line
To
to Route 88, a sewer project.
To 288 directly, the address, correct?
No, to 88, Route 88.
Route
right?
No, the number of Route 6
88.
will be up to 288, is it the house, it's not gonna run up to the bridge. No, it stops
No,
at
it stops
288.
it stops short of the
That's the
bridge, that's
meat
correct.
Yeah.
Correct, and that, the address there is 288.
Okay.
So what we wanna do is, we're gonna propose a project that only runs up to 288, then look at everybody afterwards and say, hey, nobody wants to build. The project was proposed wrong. If we're not surviving, or I should say, interested in drinking water, why would we propose it to go up Sanford Road? The original Phase 1 should have went right down Route 6. This way people had a choice of what they wanted to do. You could get back to the number score that you're talking about. At least we stood a chance. At this point here, you took Phase 1, which nobody even knows about the drinking water. I'm the only guy talking about it, right? And brought it up Sanford Road. So you brought it up a dead end, right? Then you're talking about a developer putting up houses. So the distance you're talking about and the lots that are there, they're already developed. There's what, 1 or 2 empty? So Phase 1 should have went right down Route 6. So maybe we ought to circle your phases, right, and get it straightened out here. You're the guy that put in the application for the money, right? So you're the guy that went up Sanford Road. These people didn't go up Sanford Road. You're the guy to put in the application for the money. So the next time you put an application in, make it straight down Route 6. That's where the money for the engineering has been already spent. The $1 million that we're talking about that belongs to the taxpayers, which are the people. 700, one number is 600,000, the other number is 700,000. So we got 100,000 that we got a little discrepancy in between. So let's take Phase 1, right, and bring it right down Route 6 like it was supposed to be.
That's a great idea. We would be,
Thank you.
we would be happy to do that.
But-
And it is almost totally completely designed to run all the way to the Dartmouth line.
That's where the extra
Exactly-
funding came in
exactly-
from the senator.
It's exactly what you said.
Right.
The only thing we're missing is, that's $30 million.
Well, you're the guy that put in for 1.8 up Sanford Road when there's nothing up there but the drink survival of drinking.
No, it wasn't for
We did-
Sanford.
we
I
did-
said, no, you're the guy, you put the applications in, they've both been denied.
No, I don't, I'm lost, I don't know what you're talking
What I'm
about.
saying is, when I was here the last time, like Rui said, he's been here before too, so he's heard this too. I told you to put in for the whole thing. At least everyone stood a fair chance. Now we're looking at the corner of Sanford Road and up to 288, so that ain't gonna come up to a number score.
That's the first phase, right?
Right, but the first
That's
phase
the
is,
first phase of 3
it's
contracts.
a dead end for the number game. First phase runs right down Route 6, that's the number game.
Right,
Down
so-
the end, down.
Search it.
Of course, that's the game.
So I think part of this,
32 million.
part of this confusion is one of the things that me and Maury had to talk about the other day. And I know Bob's been working diligently on this.
And it's on the
He's doing
agenda.
it- He's doing
Your thing is on the
everything,
agenda.
everything he can do. The confusion is, and I've been saying it, we needed to get the paperwork straightened out. We're gonna call, we have to call that whole trunk line Phase 1 Westport Sewer. And our problem for the funding is contracts. So, you know, contract 1 is to Meatworks. Contract 2 is to the next pump station. Contract 3's. But when we're looking at this project, Phase 1 is the whole trunk line. And then we know we have all the people at the end of Route 6 in the audience right now that are trying to get it to that.
Well,
to that
most of the
extent.
people from the audience here, this gentleman represents the school department, I understand that. That's a priority to get water there.
Yeah.
The water in the whole neighborhood down there is absolutely no good. So
All
again,
septic's a shot.
right, so again, we made a turn up Sanford Road, we're taking the backup reservoir, right? And the main focal point got shut down. Now, why did it get shut down? We're trying to stop development, at the same time, we're looking for points for development. We're circling
Well,
around.
that one was another avenue that they're going for money, and that was for the PFAS grant, and they haven't, I don't even think they've done that yet. And we're gonna get into that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not part of this project. that
So,
you're talking
but the big thing is, and to stop all the confusion for everybody, we need to get the word out there, and we gotta, you know, and Senator Rodericks has said it to me, like, the sewer is designed. Do we have contract documents for the whole sewer? Probably not. Do we have contract documents ready for contract 1? Maybe yes, but we gotta start,
We-
as we're going out trying to get our money,
We-
saying, this
we-
is our project, phase
We
1.
confused our phases. Phase 1 was dead down Route 6. The town has been through this before. A lot of taxpayers' money have been wasted. It's just, like Ruby said, you might as well go home. So the Sanford Road trick's not gonna work. We're here at the sewer department now. We got all the heads right here at the table now, right? We ought to take a vote right now. Does the sewer system go straight up Route 6?
Yes.
Or does it go down a side road and circle around nowhere?
No.
She
The
seconds that
sewer
right
system
there.
never went up Sanford Road. What don't you understand?
No, the money you're applying for goes up Sanford Road.
No, it's not. It's not. I don't know what you're talking about.
Phase 1 is only 288, so it's 1.8 million, only goes to 288
No,
on Route 6.
1.8 was to assist it. He just told you 7.5 to get to 88.
Right, and Phase 1 does not even go up Sanford Road.
No.
Oh,
So Phase 1 is only that little tip.
There'll be a tee-off for Sanford Road, I believe, but
Yeah,
it's not going up there.
It'd be a stub for Sanford Road.
right,
Nothing goes up to Sanford Road.
right.
Nothing goes up to Sanford
No.
Road.
No.
Because I was under the understanding that it went up Sanford Road and turned around to drinking water.
No, the only thing we talked about was to the schools up
Yeah,
near
so
my
that-
neighborhood.
I look at that-
Osborne Street that way.
Yeah, Osborne and
Gifford
Gifford
Road.
to Davis.
Yeah, that's totally different.
Right,
Yeah, not
so
It's-
the engineer work is done for Route 6, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so make Phase 1 the entire thing.
That's what we're trying to
Well-
do, but we have to face reality of.
Yeah, but again,
What's
the
reality?
confusion's
That's
coming in when
32
we
million.
one, yeah, but.
2 million, how much?
32 million.
You bring your checkbook?
Put in for it. 32 million, spit in the bucket.
Yeah.
They build custom homes for $32 million. You're acting like it's a lot of money.
Who?
$32 million is not a lot of money anymore.
Who's gonna give it to us?
The same person who put in the grants for.
When you go to.
They never give a
They-
$32 million
Vote
grant.
for the 32 million.
Yes,
right?
exactly. All right, let's move on to the next question, please.
Seat in the back,
Jerry.
we got a lady.
Can you please go to the mic? Anybody wants to talk, just please go to the mic.
My name is Janine Ainsworth. Now,
What
I
was it
thought
again?
phase 1 was gonna go to Washington Street, and then phase 2 was to Dartmouth. That's what I read somewhere.
No.
No?
Never was.
I'm gonna find it.
All right.
Because I know, I did read that.
Manny is trying to clarify it so everybody
Because
knows.
it's,
Phase 1
was confusing.
is confusing to everybody. Phase 1, we're trying to get the whole length of Route 6, like Manny just explained. Contract 1 would be to 88. Contract 2 would be from 88 to, what was the cutoff point for the phase 2?
The Bread and Cheese Brook.
Bread and Cheese
Just
Brook.
beyond Bread and Cheese Brook.
Yeah, where Velpotts is.
Yep.
So phase 1 will go right to Dartmouth?
Phase 1,
Yes.
the whole
Goes to Dartmouth.
project goes to Dartmouth, but there's contracts. So we might only be able to get contract 1, which would be go to 88 now. Then there's a second phase and a third, well, I shouldn't say phase, second contract and a third.
To try to get money separate.
Originally, we were calling 288 Bridge Phase 1, and like Manny said, a lot of people were getting confused, so we're trying to clarify it. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, this is my first meeting.
Ready to go?
Welcome.
But I was asked to volunteer a little while ago, before I was sworn in, so I've already started doing my homework. I'd like to emphasize a couple of things. What the gentleman said about the senator and the representative, well, for a few months I had them all in a fishbowl at a Fall River campaign. The Fall River guy and who he spoke about. And they're all on board and they're all behind it. But I'm also getting a feeling from people, civil servants that are involved at the,
Sorry.
in this infrastructure at the city level, exactly what the gentleman was referring to when he was speaking. I believe we have to start getting our act together, because I was told off the record, not this board, but the future boards and everything the gentleman was getting at is we've been spinning our wheels and missing windows and opportunities. So the right hand has to know what the left hand's doing. Even though powers to be behind it, we have to all get together and get on the same page.
Most of these people, majority of them were here when we showed the prints of what the layout was. We showed everything, exactly what was going on.
We've done surveys in the past, you remember,
Yeah.
and it's been put on the shelf. Money that was spent back in the day for
Which
water
one?
and sewer.
Which one?
Well, back in the day, years ago.
Well, Murray was on the first one,
Right.
it didn't go.
I've been doing this since 2004, 19 years.
We did the best we could, right?
Right,
And then all got put on the shelf.
yeah. Well, we're trying to bring it up, guys, we're trying to do
The
it
whole
up.
Route 6 has to be buffeted in
We agree.
entirety.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of people, the school, you got the old folks home. There's a lot of possibilities up and down that strip, not just from 88 down to White's.
White,
There's opportunity up the other end too. And some of the residents
yeah.
are dealing with bad septic systems. There's people that have got money in escrow because they don't know what to do with themselves because their septic systems have failed.
We totally agree, but that's what killed it the first time, when people said it's gonna cost me $30,000 to go buy my house, is what turned everybody off last time. So that's why we're gonna be careful. We could sell this project, like I told you guys a million times, Dartmouth took a jail and paid for their sewer. We don't wanna take a
Don't you
jail.
think there's a hardship with some of these people with septic?
Absolutely.
It's not 30,000 anymore, it's
People off
65.
Route 6, sharing wells
Yeah.
and septics.
Yeah,
Wells on one property, septics on the other property.
I totally agree.
Come on.
Yeah, no,
This day and age, there should be no need for that.
we're not here because we didn't feel like staying home watching cartoons. We're trying to get the job done.
This whole Route
Help
6
us
is
out.
to be an entirety, and I've already said it in the past. I know that it has to be approved by town.
Yesterday.
I mean, 30 million or 28 million, whatever. It has to be approved that we have to accept this money somehow, right? I understand that. But if we're gonna rely on the town to even pay half of that, it ain't gonna happen. Not with the new high school, not with fire stations, police stations. It's never gonna happen.
Well, that's why we're trying to do
Okay?
it. That's the idea. of doing
Everybody's
it.
stuck in granny gear. Everybody's afraid to shift.
Well, that's why we're talking about doing it by not phase 1,
That's the only way-
contract
that's the
1.
only way it
Let's
can
get
be
going.
done.
That's what we're
whole
saying.
strip, water and sewer, help people. Well, you're doing it to help people.
Right, I understand.
You're doing it to help the community as well.
Yep.
Yep.
You're gonna be
So-
helping the school, old folks home.
So, Roy, I just want to say something. I agree with you, I agree with your frustration. Multiply it by 19 years of me doing this.
Well, I was
And I
saying-
come to realize that Westport does not play its politics right. There's money, and everybody else is getting it except for Westport. And this is exactly why I want to
can't
sit
get
down
the money
with
'cause we're only
with
proposing-
Paul Schmidt and with Michael Rodericks and see how to move this forward. There is state money, there's federal money. Keating is still going to bat for 960,000, but Warren and Merkel, or whatever his name is, Markey, totally rejected us at the Senate level, and the Senate has more money than the House. So we're doing something wrong, and we got to fix it. Maybe all you guys, maybe we start a letter writing campaign to Markey and Warren and Keating, and to everybody in the state, the governor, who's more interested in other things than they are in economic development here in
Well-
Westport. So,
The governor's gonna be coming to Westport shortly. And I think maybe we ought to go to that.
you educator,
we-
man.
We
You-
go to
you're the
that
best one to do it.
fundraiser and we put our case when we say we got a design.
yeah.
We have a completed design, and I've already
Yeah.
told her, we have a design completed for Route 6,
Yeah.
and we can't afford to put it in.
Yeah, no.
And she's
got the new
actually
economic
working with us
And I
now,
agree
so.
with you. We have a new school. We have a new fire department. We have a new police department. And we keep going back to
We're going in the
annual
right
meeting
direction.
to try to
So
get,
we're
and
going in the
then,
right direction.
yeah, I know.
You know, we're getting with the times. Well, we gotta take it from Granny gear and put it
Yeah.
into second, you know?
I'm totally on page, on the page
Okay,
with you.
all right, let's get back to it. I think everybody got to voice their input. Roger, let's get back on track, please. And everybody, what are you up to? Well, 3B, are you?
3B.
All right, if you're following along on the sheet, it's 3B we're up to.
I don't have one.
This, no, there was, but we're out now, I think. Who doesn't have one?
Thanks, Chief.
Do you have enough, do you need another one, Jim?
I'm good.
3B, it is the PFAS treatment grant. So, as we talked about at the last meeting, the survey was submitted with the plan, service, Maycomber School, and the public water systems that are out there now. On August 30th, a survey response was submitted outlining the presence of PFAS and indicating the expected construction cost of roughly $3.6 million. The proposed project involves the extension of water infrastructure along State Road spanning from East Bridge Road to Washington Street. Additionally, the plan includes the establishment of a stub or loop, including Gifford and/or Osborne, with the intention of serving Maycomber School in both scenarios. So the key emphasis of the grant is directed towards reaching public water systems. We anticipate a response soon regarding eligibility for grant award.
So
So let me just clarify one thing. Most of what we're talking about tonight is on the water sewer project on Route 6. This is not part of it. We have an existing water line that goes from Fall River to about,
Cozy Dome.
you know, okay. This is a freshwater line that would come off that existing water line. We just the planning board came across this pot of money and this possibility to put in a water line into the residential area from the existing water line. So it has nothing to do with Route 6. But it is an opportunity to get $3.5 million for part of the future project, which is to get it into the neighborhoods. Right now, the Route 6 project is a trunk line just down Route 6, not into neighborhoods. This would put
Sewer line.
into the water and sewer. This would put a water project into the neighborhoods.
Manny?
So,
Sorry.
Maureen, there were two parts to this grant.
Mhm.
One was the loop up to the new school, and the other one was to extend the water further down Route 6.
Oh, it is?
We did
Yeah,
that because
to Washington Street.
there's a
Yes.
couple.
I didn't realize there was a second part to
There's
it.
a couple of properties along Route 6 that are they have public water supplies, small wells.
Okay.
That are having issues with PFAS, and this is what the grant's looking for, it's looking to correct that.
Okay.
So we looked at that to make our grant application a little bit better.
And it's just another opportunity of the boards and committees looking for money to benefit the people of the town. This is what we're constantly doing.
All right, Manny's been waiting.
So this PFAS grant stuff is federal money. Again, so as Rui had said, we've spent a lot of money on studying. Route 6 been studied, I think, 3 times, sewer and water. The Kleinfeld report identifies all these PFAS. It goes all the way to Dartmouth, in the old Westport factory. There's all black marks. I don't know exactly how many of them are, all the way down Route 6. That's all PFAS contamination. I mean, our Board of Health seems to believe that's nitrogen, and they're forcing these denitrification systems in a non-nitrogen sensitive area. But that water line needs to go all the way in. And I think on this PFAS grant, we need to think big and get denied big if we have to. But that should be all the way to Dartmouth. And we should pursue the interconnect into Dartmouth like the DEP wants. So we should be tied into Fall River and Dartmouth. Dartmouth buys water from New Bedford. If Dartmouth needs water, they could buy it from Fall River all the way around, just like Tiverton is. And then we should pursue that. Just like they went one time for our new high school. I mean, the line coming out of the backside all the way to Beaton Road from Dartmouth Dartmouth's been fined in 2022 for residence time in the pipe, not enough customers on it. I think one delegate from Westport went to go see if we could tie in for the school, and they were denied. They should have went to the DEP and asked to tie in. We bought land because we couldn't do the well. I mean, it's less than a mile away, the water main, that they could have tied in and looped in. So, I mean, this PFAS stuff with the water contamination, you know, there's forever chemicals in there that septic systems actually contribute to. So we shouldn't be doing denitrification systems to help us with the water problem over there, because it's not gonna help us. So I think we need to look big and throw that whole trunk line in. I mean, who's to say that this PFAS money can't give us some sewer money? It's all connected.
So let me just say a couple things, just, so more grants, PWID grants, there used to be PWID grants, Mass Work grants, even STIP projects, I've submitted those in the past as well, and I'll tell you, just as, my opinion, the fastest way to kill a grant application is to make
Make it too big.
Make it too big. The other thing to keep in mind is a lot of these grants require matching funds. So, they're gonna want skin in from the town. So whatever you're committing to, if you were lucky to get into, I've never heard of one like a $30 million, I mean, Bob's heard of a $30 million grant, but we've talked to the USDA, the folks at the state, DEP, and every other office, and you know, certainly, readiness is very important, but each one has their own little nuance in terms of what they're gonna require for you to be eligible for the grant. So when we talk about MassWorks, it's that economic development component. We're talking about the PFAS, it's addressing those contaminants and getting the service to wells. If we did not bring a water line to these wells, they would never be even considered as part of this grant application. And then, like I said, the third component is it is strategic when you begin to submit these applications for grant money, because one is they want to spread the money around among a bunch of towns, and the second part of it is they only have so much money that they're getting down, it trickles down from the feds, just like you said, Manny. So these are all constraints in terms of being able to submit a larger project in a grant application, because if we thought there was an opportunity for 30 or 20 or 5 or even a $10 million grant, we'd be all over it.
And if you do it in phases, you get awarded the first phase, you're gonna get the second, you're gonna get the third.
That's right, that's another good point, because they want to support their own projects, so.
It's just as easy to write 32 million in a line as 7 million in a line. It's no more work.
And I would
But
encourage
you
if
take yourself out
If
of
you wanted to check this
competition.
yourself, you can go on the state website, and they list, for example,
sure.
all the
32
grant
million is
awards,
just the sewer.
all the different projects from all the different communities that you will not see.
No,
This
it's
PFAS stuff, they just changed a bunch of the regulations January,
All right, I thought you
and
said-
offered up some of this money. I mean, we got, you know, if you research how we got the water main that we have, so we got a Superfund site in Dartmouth that's part of the contamination to Route 6. There's 3 lined landfills just over the border in our watershed that are contributing PFAS contaminations to us. I mean, I think we need to look into that whole picture. And by having our whole design complete and this, okay, we're breaking it, what's gonna be sewered in Westport is probably gonna be 10, 15 contracts. I mean, growing up in Somerset, I think it was like 26, 30 contracts to sewer the whole town. But they came in with a design of the whole town. I mean, we're just trying to get the design of Route 6, because I think if you have the design of Route 6, you're gonna have developers like the Carricks do that short sewer main extension up the side.
Design costs money too, though, you know that.
We haven't spent it all yet.
Yeah, but
And
300 is not gonna get you to the-
Senator Roderick said, spend it and I'll get you more. Why haven't you spent it? That's what he says. So let's use it up and say, we don't have any money for that either.
We're trying to spend it, but we're getting yelled at. All right, listen, just so everybody understands, 32 mil is the water and sewer all the way down. We don't want to confuse people. So the whole project, all the way down, 32 mil. This 1.8 would have been kind of a separate, it would have been on top
The
of that.
32 million is a cheap price right now. Wait 5 more years.
Thanks, Robbie. Like you said, write up the check, we'd be happy to take care of it. So just so everybody understands that, 32 mil is the total overall price at this time for the whole project. We don't want to confuse you with the 1.8. 1.8 was a portion of it that we were hoping to get funding for. Okay, go ahead, Roger.
Just free seed, just to touch upon it, similar to what we had last time we met, but again, the SRF project evaluation form was submitted to the Mass DEP, Department of Municipal Services, and we hope and we anticipate that the project will be listed on the intended use plan, And that again comes out typically sometime in January of 2024. If we get a positive response from them, then that's going to require some action at town meeting, including approval of loan authorization for loan authorization.
I just want to make one comment in support of the state revolving fund. It is 2% money for, what is it, 20 years? And it amortizes like a home mortgage, I believe. But 2% a couple years ago was not, it was just a normal rate of return. We could have gotten 2% from the public market. But today, 2% is an extremely advantageous rate, where the public market for a municipal bond is probably in what, the 3.5, 4 range right now. And
we
so
will-
it's
we will-
good money, easy, cheap money.
And we will be eligible for some debt forgiveness. That's how they phrase, a portion of it will come as a grant, and they call it, because they can't give you the money, they can only loan that money. They loan it with debt forgiveness, so there's a piece, it'll be small for us, because but we will get somewhere in the 3 to 6% discount on that.
Bob, let me ask you a question. There was talk about more than just the normal 3 to 6% forgiveness. There was talk about 50% forgiveness. Did the legislature ever do anything on that? Because
No.
this is federal money, it's ARPA money.
Yeah, no, there is,
No, it
there
didn't.
is not that kind of.
Okay.
There's
also matching funds requested on that, required on that?
Okay.
Question came up regarding the plan. So the project is, the design plans are basically 100% done. Actually, the design team, Jim and I met today. We just did a little value engineering, added up some comments, so some minor edits. And currently, they might have actually even emailed it to me already. The specifications are being developed, and a revisiting of the project estimate and bid items are being developed. So the bid items are things like how many manholes, how much each manhole is going to cost, how many feet of pipe, et cetera, going through the bid documents. Yeah, so that's really where we're at. And then, you know, we'll be preparing very shortly to submit a notice of intent to the Conservation Commission, and hopefully we can wrap up some of the other permitting associated with the project. From the design standpoint, we're around the 10 yard line here, 5 yard line.
Fine. Doing names with again. When we come back in January, you think we're gonna have any progress, anything's gonna be better than what happened here tonight? What do you think?
We're gonna decide on the town meeting.
Oh, okay, we're gonna do something. I mean, if we come back to the 24th and sit here and just sit here and same old story, is there gonna be any improvement?
Well, if you think it's the same old story, I need you to pay attention, because that's why we're clarifying stuff. We're letting you know the status
All
on
right,
funding,
that's
we're
not my
letting you
question. The
know.
question is, do you think anything will be better when we come back in January?
He'll know on the other loan that he explained earlier in the meeting.
That'll be in January, we'll know more, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
he expects to know at the end of December, early January, and that's the one point,
That's,
I don't wanna get
that's just the SRF intended use plan comes out. So it lists all the projects that are eligible for the
Okay.
funding.
All right?
All right.
Just so you know, all right. I mean, we try to make the meeting so it's worth your time to come and
Right.
learn stuff and,
You know, just I'd like to come back and have something that's good. You know what I'm saying to
yep.
you?
Well, we got you, I mean, it's,
Okay.
you know, we're trying to do it. Go ahead, man.
I think another thing, what the public needs is, we need to get something out in a couple of the papers stating, this is where we are with our design. We're looking for funding for contracts, so that people understand that we're not just, like, I mean, we've been kicking the can down the road for 30-something years over here. That we're not kicking it down the road, we're trying to get it done. And then we can get the backing from the public. If we gotta go to town meeting, we gotta go to town meeting to discuss this. We gotta gear up for it. You know, we got boards in town that didn't have to go to town meeting, that are costing them money to install septics. So, you know, they gotta realize, you know, that average septic that they're making them do now, and they just, supposedly they gave them an extension for 2 more years, but they haven't sent letters out. to
So
people
Manny, what are
telling
you
them to do it.
proposing, like an article in shorelines or something?
Well, you know, we need something, maybe something on the
That-
front
we
page.
didn't do
instead of
that.
a-
That
an
was
article
done
on the
by the,
backside, you know what I mean?
by
Put
the,
something in the Herald News,
Oh, cool.
put something on social media.
Oh, yeah,
Put
yeah,
something-
social media probably would be a better.
Get something up on the website, saying this is where this is our progress report.
So you're, okay.
Well,
Sewer.
we're supposed to have a forum, but we don't have any solid numbers. I would have loved to have done that before that time.
Yeah.
What's the deadline, Jim, for town meeting articles? Is it the end of January?
End of January.
Is it the
I was thinking that's
26th?
A little bit more time after that. to
Yeah, we can do a
finalize.
placeholder
Yeah.
when we come up with the.
So at our meeting on the 24th, we can vote for a placeholder for the warrant.
I mean, it's, because even for me, it's a little frustrating. I sit on several boards, I'm on the planning board and I'm a selectman, and I don't know what's going on half, sometimes. So it's a little, I can imagine. Yes.
Go to the mic, please.
Rob Machado.
Yes, sir.
We're not gonna make the point board at a short span on Route 6 anyway, as far as the sewer goes. The water goes down to Greenwood Terrace already. Doing a fork off for the school, that's definitely a priority. I thought there was a priority going up around the backup reservoir to ensure the quality of water around the reservoir. Since phase 1 ain't going that way, the point score is not gonna work that way anyway. Taking into consideration what this gentleman said here, we make phase 1 Route 6, getting back to the point score that they were talking about, right? Did we get anybody out there to door to knock on the door and say, do you want to tie in? Because if he says yes, that's a point, correct?
No, we're showing the whole neighborhood.
What's that?
We're just showing the whole neighborhood as an issue, correct? We're showing the
No,
whole area.
what they said about,
The point scoring wouldn't qualify.
Oh, for the
That was
pointing
economic
system.
development and.
right, for a new development. So if I walked up and said there's 50 apartments, I go halfway down Route 6 and get 75 people, that's better than the 50 apartments, correct or not?
Yeah, if you came in with a project and said, I'm gonna build 50 apartments and 25% are gonna be affordable, that would be big.
Right.
Non-existent.
So if we go down Route 6 and count the doors that want the sewer there, right?
No,
No, that doesn't count.
that doesn't count.
That doesn't work on the point
No,
score?
those houses are already there.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so if we're looking for a point score, right, we won't make it, right?
Think of
So
manufacturing,
We know
think of-
that's dead then.
Think of something that'll bring money to the state, technology, like we try to do a technology district. Think of about that it's gonna
Yeah,
bring jobs and
If
stuff.
we only had to, like you said, prior to January, a little bit after January, pull something together, next time you show up there, there'll be no progress. The whole thing will be as flat as flat. We're spinning around in
Listen, I'm
circles.
All right, Robbie,
I'm hoping.
sit down if you're gonna start getting ridiculous,
I'm
okay?
hoping to-
Thank you. All right, let's go to the next thing.
Going nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm glad you shared.
So contract 1C, the next section, this is number 6, they're preparing updated 75% plans as we speak as well.
Okay.
And then the next action, under the action items A, B, and C, very similar to what we just talked about public outreach, funding models, and some of the action items needed to take place in preparation for town meeting. I can go through those if you want, but it's.
Yeah, why don't we, because that was what we were just discussing, so why don't you just clearly explain the action items so people understand what we're trying to do to go forward?
So, so A, so once the information has been received regarding the interest in real property, meaning the locations for the pump stations, grants, and SRF loans, and what's gonna be there for potential forgiveness, you can start to develop a funding model that's gonna talk about how those, the costs associated with the project need to be offset by actions at town meeting, who's gonna pay for what, how the betterments are gonna be structured, is it gonna be a town contribution overall town contribution, is it gonna be supported completely by just the end user, meaning the person getting sewered? So that funding model needs to look at all those things, put that all together, and figure out what the actual costs are and how it's gonna get paid.
Everybody understand that?
Yeah.
We're gonna decide if we're gonna go to the town, individual users, like Ms. Ainsworth saying, you to go by your house and you've got 3 or 4 apartments and it's not gonna be a cheap connection, just so you're aware.
I know that.
Okay,
Okay, we do have sort of an idea of a funding model in our
we got
heads.
some, but.
And it includes state revolving fund, but it includes grants that, you know, are 50-50 at best. And so, but we can still put one together to have it all add up to 7.5 million. We could do that right now.
Well, we do, there is inclined for the put
Or are you talking about a funding model with approved grants and approved state
Yes.
revolving fund? Okay. So we don't have a funding model right now,
No. the whole-
except for maybe $1 million of ARPA money from Bristol County or something.
Okay.
Okay.
One more thing.
Guys, you don't have to raise your hand, go to Mike, I'll recognize you when you get to the mic, just, you know.
Janine Ainsworth, I just want to say one more thing. We bring this to town meeting, a lot of people are gonna vote this down.
Yeah.
Anybody that lives but down, they're gonna say, we don't need this, we don't want it. So remember that. I don't think we'll
You
have a
gotta make it
chance.
so that they want it, I mean,
Pardon?
make it so they do want it. You know, it's healthy, it's safe for
No,
the
yeah,
environment.
because they're not gonna see it for years. It's so
Ms. Ainsworth,
far down.
quite frankly, what you gotta understand is we've been taking baby steps because we're trying not to take big box stores, we're
Okay.
trying to
No,
keep
I'm
our
just saying,
character.
I think if it goes to town meeting, we're gonna,
Listen, we've got a lot of open space in town. People
All right.
understand if we're trying to keep our character,
Yep.
we'll probably be able to have some support.
okay.
If we just go there willy-nilly, no, it's not gonna happen.
All
But
right.
if we tell them, look, we don't want big box stores, we don't want this, we don't
Right.
want that, it stands a bit of a chance. The other parts of town will support us, but we're trying to keep our character.
Okay.
We're gonna have to put more housing, that's the project that they were talking about with
Yes.
Carrick,
Yeah.
extending it. There's parts that we're gonna have to do because we're within the circle of the new train anyways.
Yeah.
They're gonna force us. But you guys are forgetting the other part of this, how it started with the septic and whatnot, was the state that was gonna force us all to upgrade our septic systems, whether we liked it or not.
Right.
So there's all pieces to it. I mean, some of you are getting frustrated, but you got to understand, we're trying not to take a jail or a mall or anything. We're trying to keep our character.
Right.
And for that, you know, it's baby steps, to be honest with you. We're trying to get more funding from the people. We understand people are hurting right now. Unfortunately, it's not the best economy. We have to put up some buildings.
Right.
So I want you to understand the overall picture.
But we're
Everybody
basically-
here is trying to keep our character. We're
Right,
trying
we're
to do
basically
this.
on the line though, you know that. I mean, they're
Right.
pushing for us to put new septic system. And
Right.
those are expensive too, they're like $50,000.
So
If
we
it's half
totally
of that,
agree.
it's better.
Right, so we're trying to do our part,
Right.
but there's also other parts, like we can extend the housing on Route 6 to Greenwood Terrace by getting rid of the humongous septic mound we
right.
got there and putting more housing for people that need it.
You're right.
The
Yeah.
downfall for that is that we don't get to control who goes in there, that's a state building. So they
Right.
come from all over to fill the buildings, so
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily help Westporters, but it should help our case to extend the sewer.
All right,
So there's all pieces of the puzzle we're trying to get together.
okay.
Okay. Anything else on yours, Roger?
What is that woman's name?
That's Mrs. Ainsworth. Mrs. Ainsworth, I'm sorry, I forgot your first name.
Janine,
Janine who?
Janine,
J-E-A-N-I-N?
N-N-I-N-E, two N's, yeah.
J-E-A-N-N-I-N.
N-N-I-N-E.
That's just for the records for the
Okay.
town.
Jenny who?
Janine Ainsworth, A-I-N-S-W-O-R-T-H. Okay, anything else, Roger?
Just to build, just B and C is just what we talked about, I think, a little bit regarding meetings with stakeholders, property owners, and just talking detail about the proposed plan. And then finally, C is just some of the action items that are gonna be required for a town meeting, include SRF loan authorizations, possibly an IMA, to municipal review, and maybe not, but possibly and then, yeah, any borrowing associated with the project, that kind of stuff. So it's just some action items for town meeting potentially.
All right, so we gotta whittle down what we actually wanna go for, because our next meeting, we've gotta make the hard decisions. We've got some input on it, but we've gotta decide what we wanna go forward with. Let me stay with the agenda though for now. Excuse me.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mark. Did you have something to add?
No,
between-
I'm good.
Mass Works, Mac Loop was discussed, others miscellaneous, Fernandez report.
Yeah, no, we did that.
Where are we down to, the next step, the town meeting?
New
question
business.
already? All right, so going by your agenda, we're under new business funding, next step, annual town meeting, just what I was just discussing. With our grant funding failures, we must ask ATM for a loan from the state, like Bob explained. 2% is looking good this year, right now, these days. How much to borrow? Deadline for the warrant article submission is January 26th, so.
Yeah, so most of this section has already been discussed.
Right.
But the state revolving fund is 2% money, and if we want to borrow a certain amount from the state revolving fund, we have to go to town meeting, and warrants or placeholders for warrant requests have to be in to the Board of Selectmen office by January 26th. So we have a January 24th meeting, which is going to be critical in the composition of our warrant request. So that, unless there's anybody else have any comments, that's the reason
No, we
why I
just
put
need
that
to
on
Whittle
there.
down what we gotta go for. And
Yeah.
The last minute numbers won't be until we get the answer on the grant. That's, what's the?
We'll know the grant amount.
Yeah, and you could also begin to put together It's not that bad, to get some more language, assuming that, you know, we're gonna get.
Can you help us with that, Jim? Get the auditor together, and then we'll discuss the funding. We'll also have to discuss, it doesn't sound like there's, the only thing I'm not sure on is if we still wanna go for the phase one, contract one, or we wanna go to town meeting for the whole enchilada, so we're hearing both sides of it, so that's gonna be discussed.
I have a question regarding that.
Go ahead, Mr. Amo.
That 2% money, does that qualify for the required matching funds? Can be
Is
that,
it
can
matching
that
or
be
not?
part-
We can get more for that,
No.
can't we?
No.
We don't have to match for that.
It's a loan, it's not a
It's-
grant.
Yeah, it's a loan.
It's mainly the grants that have these matching
Yeah,
requirements.
but if we have other grants that require matching funds, can we use that 2% money to be a matching fund?
To supplant what we need for the overall amount, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I would think so. That would be kind of a filler if we went for the 2%, correct? After we got the grants, the rest of the money that we need, he's asking if that's how we would get the rest of the money. Like, say we got the grant.
We still have some other options, we got some
Yeah.
ARPA money aside.
We got a
have
little
some,
ARPA money.
Remaining money from Senator Roderick's earmark, so I think unless the match is huge, we should be able to come up with.
Yeah, so Jim, I do have a question there, because I know you are running a spreadsheet on ARPA money funds, and there's various pots. One pot is obviously Senator Roderick's earmark. That was $1 million. We spent, what, $750 of that, so there's a little bit left. But I know in your notes accompanying the Bristol County money, Bristol County ARPA money is $2.8 million. It comes in 4 tranches of 700 about. And we have gotten 2 tranches, 1.4, but there's another 1.4 to come. And I know in your notes, you have a suggestion of 1 million for Route 6. Is that something that has to be approved by the Board of Selectmen?
Yes,
Can you explain it to these 2 members of the Board of
No, we
Selectmen?
know.
You know about
touched
that.
base on it.
we approve
That-
ARPA, they approve
That there's a
ARPA.
possibility of $1 million there, plus another couple $100,000 from the Roderick's earmark. Okay, good, so we
That's a
have that.
possibility, right? That hasn't been determined, that $1 million.
No, the
Kind
Board of
putting it
Selectmen has
aside. It
to,
also has to be obligated by December 2024, and it has to be expended, I think, by 27. So
we've
the
got,
timing is gonna be important as
Yeah,
well.
we're
but it
probably
would,
gonna have to
it would
connect.
go for that first contract, right, the sewer contract, so hopefully by 2027, my God, I'll be 81 years old.
We need to get it obligated under contract by the
Yeah,
end of
okay,
December.
okay.
So the ARPA would be subject to the town meeting vote too. So we have to have a plan B if it doesn't pass. So,
Yeah.
more
okay.
discussion on that, or what we wanna go for, Roy?
We could go. Question is, do we have a solid number from our contractor? for
The
this?
32 mil for the whole stretch, you mean?
Do we have
Or
one?
7.5 to
No,
88, am I saying?
32 million.
The
Do we
32
have, do we have a solid number for that whole infrastructure?
No, we have a number, an estimate from our engineers.
Yeah.
From the engineer, but we've never put it up for bid,
No.
No,
No.
no, we haven't.
so we don't even know.
No.
It could go up, it's the way it reaches.
Could go down too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I
get-
I sincerely doubt it, but not impossible.
You get 'em
Contracts are going up every
I know
year,
there's people in this room that know some big contractors that,
but they still got prevailing wage to do the
Well,
job, that's a problem.
I understand that, but
I got it.
for the cause, you never know.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That 3.2 could become
32.
I mean, 32 could become 28, but we don't know.
That would be awesome. So that's what we're gonna decide. I don't think a 2-part question would work at town meeting. You know, you get your choice either or. We've got, either that or if the board wanted to go for the larger amount, and then it could be talked at town meeting. I mean, we've gotta decide a game plan. If we don't decide tonight, obviously it's the last minute at our next meeting. So how does the board feel? Anybody have anything they wanna put forward, or you need to do more research? You wanna wait for the final numbers? How do you wanna do it?
Well, I think that's something we have to discuss at the January 24th meeting.
So 24 is when we come down to the nitty gritty,
Yes,
and we put what's forward for the town meeting.
yes.
Any other questions on that?
No.
Everybody understand what we're doing? So the 24th will be what we're gonna bring to town meeting. We'll make a decision that night on the amount, and we'll know another grant, and you'll know exactly what we're gonna go to town meeting with.
How do you find out what grants are out there to grab?
Roger and Michael
I mean,
Burris,
that's gonna be tough on
planning.
its own, just hunting down grant money.
Oh, that's what it is. Sometimes you gotta meet guidelines. Like the schools right now, there's grants that you can only get if you're kind of a poverty school that don't take care of your school. It's crazy. Because we take care of our schools, we're not eligible for some grants. So I mean, the HVAC grants I'm talking about, the regular, you know, a basic school can't get them. You have to not take care of your schools. It's crazy. So anyways, we're out there looking around, we're poking around. Mike Rogers has helped us. Paul Smith's been digging around. And some people let us down, like Murray said. Some are still on the battlefield. Which one is still supporting this?
Bill Keating, our federal House of Representatives is looking for an earmark of $960,000. But this is a House of Representatives, folks. We're going from continuing resolution to continuing resolution. I have no idea whether our earmark is in a CR or not. I've tried to call the office and they haven't returned the phone call. I doubt if it's, the CRs are basic funding, and I doubt if our earmark is in that, so.
You got anything more on that, or you want to, you good?
He has to recognize you.
Again, like I'm thinking this federal money on the PFAS, I mean.
Okay.
Just, if we're gonna go even for little grants, just let them know that our trunk line is.
So the next thing I'll need.
Environmental injustice
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Discussing the PFAS.
You know, the
now.
Macumber that we're trying to get, that's all that stuff, it's all of Route 6. I mean, we'll look at how we got the water main in the first place. I mean, I actually talked to the guy in the DEP that was instrumental in getting that installed, is still there. And one of the things he told me is, he says, we watch Westport closely, he says, but it seems like they don't know what they're doing. Even when they got it
just smack
installed, they don't know what they're doing.
That's right.
So I don't know, maybe we can invite them in to talk to us and help us, how do we
It could
solve
at
this
least be a
problem?
sub-meeting.
you know?
It could be a sub-meeting too, where you guys could meet, you know, it doesn't have to be formal, you
Yeah.
guys could get some numbers for us. All
I
right,
mean,
so-
I think ultimately the big thing is what Senator Rodrick's empowered us to do in the first place was get a shovel-ready project. And we've been kind of beating it around, worrying out how we're gonna pay for it. Get it
Well, it's still
shovel-ready.
going forward. I
Yeah.
mean, you know,
Well, I mean, they told us we'd have bid documents by spring of this year, and I haven't seen one bid document,
Not yet.
you know, but,
We have,
and that's not you, Roger, I know that was.
All right, so are we down to the last item? I just want to make sure. Is there any additional new business before I go into kind of summarize and everything?
No, go ahead.
All right, so just so everybody understands, it took time out of your night tonight, because I hear some people saying the wheels are spinning, not getting nothing done. Do you understand what's going on? As I just explained a little while ago, 32 mil right now at this point to go down Route 6. We're also applying for PFAS funding, which Manny discussed, Roger discussed, which would make a loop going up Osborne Street and coming down Davis. I'm saying this right? Davis, around the loop and down Osborne? Gifford, excuse me, Gifford, yeah, not David. All right, so it'd be a loop coming that way. They also went down to Washington Street, looking for additional funding for PFAS funding there. PFAS is a different grant. It's
That's for the water?
yes, we're hoping to piggyback on top of the amount we need.
Yeah.
All right, anything else I need to add on that? We're still,
Well, one thing that people can realize too is we extend this water main, it's gonna help you with your insurance, fire hydrants, fire protection. I mean, maybe we can look into, you know, we got some people, we just hired a really competent fire chief that maybe he can look into, maybe there's some other grant opportunities to extend the water for fire protection. You know,
I think Rainey should be mad, because we won't need generators to flush our toilets if we got city water. Up to the mic if you could.
Do we have the engineering plans? Are they available, copies, or
Yeah, are they available in copies that we can have for the
online or
24th?
anything?
Can we make
I
copies
can
for the
put them
24th?
on, I can put them online.
Put them on.
All right, we'll put them online and get a hold of you, yeah.
And it'll show all the substations and...
Yeah.
yes.
The two
Proposed.
substations in that first section are designed. The other two substations, they just have the locations right
The
now.
location.
They have to be negotiated, obviously, to get the exact
This is
location.
GPM.
Mr. LaChapelle?
Randy LaChapelle. There's one thing that's just resonating with me, that when we hear somebody say that it doesn't appear that Westport knows what they're doing, there's got to be some truth somewhere, not that we all don't know what we're doing, but we're missing something. So, I mean, and there's a lot of work done, and I know there's a lot of confusion of how it's stated, and that causes even more frustration. But when we failed a couple of times for funding, and you've got other towns that look at it, looking at us, or other professionals saying that Westport doesn't know what they're doing, that's pretty strong words.
Well, this is going back 30-something years.
Those words are 30-something years.
Well, no,
I didn't take it
he's
back.
still in place.
Okay.
And because I remember when that water main was coming in, and I know the reason why it came in.
What was the reason why, Manny? Why did it bring
Well,
it
the
in?
contamination,
It was emergency.
Resolve
Well,
is a super, hey, it's a Superfund site in Dartmouth that's still treating the water today. Okay, so once the DEP identified it, I mean, they went out to the residents and handed out bottled water. They're the ones, you know, like what he kept saying is, well, they came up with the money, they went to Westport, and Westport still didn't know what to do with it. I mean, they're the ones that actually got it built for us. So, and we haven't done anything, and I mean, that was in the 80s that was put in. We haven't done one water main extension, or you know,
Since we
very
haven't-
few water main, which one, what, the one
We
around
extended
White's?
down- Yeah, we extended down
Right.
to the 660.
Davis Road because of Mid-City.
We got gates at intersections.
Yeah.
We've never bring it out of Route 6. You wanna look at, you know, what is it, what's the restaurant now that used it, was Just
Closing up.
Steve's,
Steve
Oh,
Marion's, Kathy's.
Kathy's.
yeah.
So Kathy's, when Just Steve was getting ready to retire, he needed water service. It was too expensive for him to get it out of Route 6. So that, you know, that was like 10, 15 years ago. Today, I mean, Route 6 got concrete in it. All these gates were left in the middle of Route 6. Not, you know, Somerset does $1 million a year in grants extending water mains. Every year.
Once we get
They,
that first
they're,
grant.
you know, they're doing, you know, we haven't done one since we put the whole thing in.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you're saying one, but,
You got
I mean, you got all these
We
intersections.
don't.
We got intersections. We got some of these places with, you know, that they're holding escrow money for septic systems, and it was because the well was contaminated. It was 10 feet off of Route 6, and the water main's 500 feet away. It's cheaper to run that water main down the median than this guy to put his septic in, and we can't get it done. You know, I mean, the Board of Health should get involved in this too, and this is drinking water
It's a health
supply,
issue, right?
you know?
Go ahead, Jim.
So we keep using the term fail. We did not fail on these.
I don't know where that came, Brady, that was a
I- I-
that was a side conversation.
Denied.
But this was not failed. We probably shouldn't have applied for those grants in the first place because
Right.
it was a stretch.
We stretched
We
them.
didn't really qualify. But what we're doing is we're turning over every rock. We're going after every funding opportunity out there, even though we know that we're probably not gonna get it. We don't wanna miss it.
Right.
So that's
Bob
what
said
happened.
that at
We
the
did not
initial
fail. We
meetings.
stretched, we
Right.
did the extra, we went the extra mile to even apply for this grant twice. And every time you apply for one of these grants, it takes time. A lot of research and effort goes into each one of these applications. And knowing it when you're probably saying, yeah, we're not gonna get this, we don't, we're still doing it. So every funding source, every funding opportunity that we have, we're going for right now. And we just need you guys to support us, because you're the ones that are gonna benefit.
Well, you got our support. You can-
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that, Jim. That's true. I mean, he said it right from the beginning, they were gonna be stretching it. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, that makes me feel a lot better. But same thing from the resident, the common sense end is, and I just had all of these politicians in a fishbowl at a 4-month-long campaign. That's the perception out there. That's the perception that Westport missed the boat.
You know, the towns that have built projects, and I've worked with many towns that, you know, when 495 came in and Marlboro and all those towns built all the technology parks in there, and over my career, I was involved in a lot of those. You know, a lot of those towns sat down when they saw that the highway was coming, and they saw we had a highway coming through our town. And they sat down and they went to the town meeting, and they said, this is a 25, 30-year, $60 million undertaking. This is how we're going to pay it. And this is, we're going to develop a capital program. And this is what it's going to cost on taxes. And you develop a capital program and you build it over, you know, 5-year increments. And you build every, just as it was said about, you know, Somerset builds another piece of streets, and
Yeah, but they also let me call it, too.
everybody knows when the sewer is coming and when the water main is coming, and you lay out those capital expenses. I think we're the largest town in eastern Massachusetts that doesn't have a public water supply. You know, people think that's, I mean, you know, people think that's strange. And you know, it's because those things haven't happened in the past, but that's the towns that get that done. It's not a mystery how they do it. It's not a mystery to your elected officials of how they do it. We know how to do it. It's
Somebody sit on their keys?
It is, you know, it's just, we haven't had a town meeting that's approached it on undertaking this capital improvement program in a long, planned, committed way. And so it's always been sort of lucky steps, but one of the things that, you know, we have now that no one has done before is we actually have a design. We actually have a complete design for locations. We're actually getting appraisals on taking the property. These are friendly takings, but they'll probably be takings. So, you know, that we've advanced the ball, you know, it's a couple of years to get that step done. We've done that step. And we've done it with grants that Jim has written, and, you know, you know, Dartmouth has an eight-person engineering department. Engineering
Whole building
department.
full of people.
Engineering
have
department
any.
stand up. Oh, and town administrators stand up, and, you know, we have a single person sort of, you know, is the day-to-day operation. You know, and it's that, you know, that when you look at these other towns that have public works departments and engineering departments and things, we're riding on volunteers.
Yeah.
I worked all day in Boston. I just got home.
For
I,
nothing.
you know,
Oh, if you gotta retire, so you can spend more time with us. All right, so does everybody understand what we're coming, go ahead, Joe.
I would just like to propose that we come up with a real strategy to inform the public better of what's going on from here forward. I
That's
heard
a
Manny
great
and Jimmy
idea.
batting around Herald News and stuff. That used to be so expensive putting in one public works ad.
No,
I don't
we'll
think
do
it costs anything to have WSAR cover our stories, but I think we gotta come up with a real.
Get a plug, we just had a story in Shorelines, I don't know, a month or two ago. I've got no problem getting it out there, but we need the definitive plan, which we're probably better off waiting January 24th.
Because I've talked
You-
to residents.
But there's one factor you should also know, is that one other point about this is that we were getting squeezed, yeah, there's the story that we had.
What was
about
that,
2 months
last
ago.
month?
2 months ago, it wasn't recent,
Well, it was June 15th.
yeah.
So this is.
All right, I'm sorry, off of my months, 5 months. But, yeah, but we don't know when this comes out. I mean, they didn't even they quoted Manny and it wasn't even to do with our committee. I'm like, Manny, what are you talking about? So they took quotes that he didn't even know about, so it was a little screwed up. So we can do a press release and everything, but that's more appropriate the other time. But the point I was trying to get to is we were getting squeezed. They couldn't wait for us to put water in and rush it in last time so they could jack our rates up. So we were covering Fall River. That's another concern we gotta be careful of. That's why we're taking
Well,
baby
there's
steps.
gonna be opponents.
Right. But there's also the regional, how Fall River can expand is because we're tying in.
But
So we gotta do it all
I think
right.
if we come up with a real strategy and a more transparent, we'll garner more support.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah, picking up what this gentleman's saying here, I listened to you, Stevie, because I was trying to figure out how we got to Plymouth on Route 6 in Westport, you know? One of the last meetings we had over at the library, and thank you, Bob, for putting in those applications too, by the way, sir, thank you. But anyway, the Plymouth look on Route 6 there, I know what you're saying, keep it, you know, a shingle atmosphere, maybe we could sell it downtown, but getting over to what this guy's saying here, the whole deal of the sewer, to bring that in, is to upgrade the town's services.
Yeah.
You know, when they put CVS in, there was a little backflash in the beginning of it, you know?
It was great.
But today, people go there, they get their medicines, and a lot of people in the neighborhood are very happy that it's there. But the sewer deal for Route 6, in my opinion, it's not about the Plymouth look. That's a laid-back look a little bit. To sell the project, it needs to be sold as a service to the entire town. Gas is double what it cost a few years ago. Everything along is with it too. Driving to Fall River is a risk.
Make more
You get into
amenities.
these cities, your pocketbooks, the women, it's not, it needs to be sold as a service. And getting over to, like you guys were saying, the main point I think here to get these applications approved is you're gonna need the point schedule on this deal.
Right.
In other
But
words,
Robbie, what you just mentioned too, part of Fall River is, Fall River used to be a very proud city, very
Yeah,
clean
of course,
city.
yeah.
But
That's
what
true.
happened? People started coming in from other communities to support their base. They had
Yeah.
to take these people to support what they wanted.
Yeah.
That's the point we're trying to sell. It's
I
gonna cost you some money for
understand
your quality of life.
right, I understand exactly what you're saying, it's very important, I definitely agree with you. But getting back to like he's saying too, to sell a service, so the service needs to be sold also as, it's gonna offer you a service, And it's also gonna provide jobs for the community.
Jobs, help our seniors, there's a
Right.
bunch of selling points.
Yep.
Think of all of that and come back January
Write it down.
24th.
Well, when we come back January 24th, we're gonna make a decision.
Correct.
Whether it's gonna stay to 288, right, or run the full length of Route 6, correct?
We're gonna decide what we're gonna ask town meeting for, correct? Right now, we haven't decided if we're just gonna go, let me say it right, Phase 1, Contract 1, which would get us to 88, or go for the whole thing like some of you were talking
I
about
can make a
tonight.
recommendation, and
That's
you
fine.
already know what it is. Sell it as a service,
Got it.
try to get up as many points as you can, go for the entire thing, put this thing together and go
I would
for it.
suggest, do me a favor,
Yeah.
write us some emails, because like that confusion you had on Sanford Road,
Yeah.
if you write us an email, it'll help everybody
Well,
understand and we can respond.
I thought the original deal was to back up the backup reservoir. The federal has some stats on that
If you're
as well.
confused, other people are confused.
Well, I ain't
So-
confused anymore, but I'm sure some other people are as well.
We will ask the press to be here, that's why I'll need you to be on your best behavior the 24th. Everybody be good. All right, anything else to add, guys?
Nope.
Anybody have anything to add?
Well, one
Go
thing,
ahead,
about town meeting. I mean, town meeting, the last town meeting, I think we had 180 people there. So it was decided by 180 people. So what we need to do when we go to town meeting, the north end of, we have way more voters in the north end.
They don't show up.
We need everybody at town meeting. We need to be represented. That's what's critical.
Uh-oh. Go ahead, Tom.
Here's the man.
Tom Orban, Brookside Avenue. I just want to offer this up. It seems like a lot of people have questions and they're looking for a forum to have answers to that. Be more than happy to open up the schools for
Sounds good.
a forum night. I mean, if we want to combine, if they want to look at the school and tour the school, they could do that as well. But I'm listening and a lot of questions are going unanswered, and I think this would be a way of doing it, especially before the town.
To be honest with you, once we know the amount, I'll ask, well, Manny can ask Rui. We'll find out if there's gonna be a lot of people here that we need to have it at your place, okay?
Okay, thanks.
You know, if there's gonna be an amount like this.
I wish we would've did that
That's Tom
before I
Orban,
had
the
knee surgery
superintendent.
yesterday.
That's it.
That would've been nice.
All right, Tom Orban. Anybody else have anything to add? Everybody understand where we're coming from? You know, if you got questions, you don't understand anything, don't be afraid to email the office. Oh, she's just waving an envelope. You're scaring me, Miss Andrew. All right, so January 24th will be important. If you guys think of it, especially the business owners, if you think we're going to overfill this room, please just give us a heads up. We'll have it at the high school or something. Okay? Because we did have meetings before, people standing out in the hall, and if we can avoid it, we don't want to have to avoid taking that vote. We only have 2 days. So if people have the right to come into the meeting. If they're going to be standing in the hall and can't hear, we're in trouble.
Well, I mean, you gotta talk to your neighbors,
Yeah.
get support,
More than likely, Tom
all the
will
communities you live
probably
in.
do it to cover it. All right? Okay, everybody
Okay.
understand everything? I need a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.